Welcome to True Crime Deep Dive. I am your host, Sherry.
I'm your host, Mark.
Let's dive into it.
Okay, so today we're diving into a case that I think really stuck with a lot of people early last year.
Yeah, definitely.
The disappearance of Ana Walshe.
Right. From Cohasset, Massachusetts.
Cohasset, Massachusetts. And then, of course, everything that came after with the charges against her husband, Brian Walshe.
Exactly. A lot of twists and turns in this one.
It's a really sad story, and we dug through all the details, the timeline, all the background info that we could find to bring you like the core of this whole thing.
Yeah, getting to the heart of it.
Yeah, the crucial facts and the context, because it was a story that was everywhere. So we wanted to try to make sure that you have a clear picture of what happened.
Absolutely. I mean, from the outset, it was a case that really grabbed your attention, going from a missing person to a potential murder investigation so quickly.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that had to do with the inconsistencies that popped up right away and, of course, the evidence that started coming out. It really shows how crucial those first few days are, for the investigation.
Yeah, those first 48 hours are just so key.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So to kind of start building this picture, let's talk about Ana Walshe herself.
Oh, okay, sounds good.
She was originally Ana Ljubicic, right?
Right.
Born in Belgrade, Serbia, back in 1983. Seems like she had a really good foundation academically. Graduated from the 5th Belgrade Gymnasium and then got her Bachelor of Arts degree.
Impressive.
Yeah, in French language and literature from the University of Belgrade.
Wow.
So, very accomplished.
Yeah, clearly.
Then she came to the U.S. in 2005, became a dual citizen, and started a career in hospitality.
And her career past is quite interesting, right? I mean, working at places like the Inn at Little Washington.
Yeah, high-end places.
Very high-end. And of course, we can't forget the Wheatley Hotel in Lenox, Massachusetts.
Oh, right, yeah.
That's where she supposedly met Brian Walshe.
Oh, okay, so that connection goes way back.
Yeah, it gives you a little insight into their relationship, where it all began.
Right. And then they married in 2016. She took his last name. They had 3 sons together.
3 young boys, right?
Yeah, just little guys, 2, 4, and 6 years old when she disappeared. And she was doing really well professionally, too.
Yeah, definitely climbing the ladder.
Became a regional general manager at Tishman Speyer. That's a real estate firm.
Oh, okay, big company.
Yeah, and that was in February 2022. So very recently, before everything happened.
Right.
And that job meant she was splitting her time between their home in Cohasset and D.C. for work.
So she was a busy woman.
Yeah, successful, driven professional, and a dedicated mom.
Absolutely, a full life.
Yeah. And then you contrast that with Brian Walshe and what we know about him. Well, there's this guilty plea from 2021.
Right, the fraud charges.
Yeah, related to some counterfeit Andy Warhol artwork.
Yeah, that's a whole other story.
And the important thing here is that when Ana disappeared, he was under house arrest.
Oh, that's right.
He was waiting to be sentenced for that fraud case.
So, already in a tricky legal situation.
Yeah, and that just adds a whole layer of complexity to this whole thing.
Absolutely. I mean, right away, it puts limitations on his movements, raises questions about any alibi he might give.
Yeah, because you know where he's supposed to be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that becomes really important as we go through the timeline.
Right. Okay, so let's get into that timeline. The disappearance itself. New Year's Eve 2022, Ana was with Brian, and they had a friend over.
Okay, a New Year's gathering.
Yeah. And then very early on, January 1st, around 4 a.m., that's the last time anyone saw her in Cohasset.
So that early morning hours becomes crucial.
Yeah, and what happens in those next few hours and days is really important. It seems like that same day, January 1st, Ana tried to call her mother, her sister, and her maid of honor.
Oh, wow. So she was trying to reach out to people.
Yeah, but she couldn't get through to any of them. And during that time, Brian's story is that he was in Swampscott with his mother all day.
Visiting his mom.
Yeah. But that alibi, well, it becomes a big focus as things unfold.
Right, because you have to verify that.
Exactly. Then a few days pass, and on January 4th, Ana is reported missing. And this is interesting because both her employer, Tishman Speyer, and Brian, they both reported her missing.
Separately.
Yeah, separately. And the story that Brian told the police initially was that Ana had to go to D.C. for work, some emergency.
Oh, okay, a last-minute work trip.
Yeah, and that her flight had been moved up. It was originally supposed to be on January 3rd, but it got bumped up to the 1st, leaving from Logan Airport.
Okay, so that explains the sudden departure.
Yeah, that's what he said. But here's where things start to fall apart.
Okay, what happened?
The police, they investigate, and they find out that Ana never actually boarded any flight.
Oh, so no record of her at the airport?
No, and there's no proof that she even got to the airport on January 1st.
So the story's already shaky.
Yeah, and she did have a flight booked for the 3rd, but she didn't get on that one either. And another thing, there's no activity on her credit cards or debit cards after January 1st.
So no financial trail after that day?
None. And these big discrepancies, they really set off alarm bells for the investigators.
Yeah, those are major red flags.
And it leads to Brian's first arrest on January 8th. They charged him with misleading a police investigation.
So not cooperating truthfully.
Right. Because they couldn't find any evidence to back up his story about being at CVS and Whole Foods in Swampscott.
So those little details,
Yeah, they matter.
they really matter, especially when they don't line up with the facts.
Exactly. And then the prosecutor, they come out and say that on January 2nd, that's the day after Ana was last seen, Brian was at a Home Depot in Rockland.
Rockland, okay.
Yeah, and he spent something like $450 on cleaning supplies.
Cleaning supplies.
Yeah, a lot of them.
That's a lot of cleaning supplies.
And that starts to paint a pretty incriminating picture, right?
Yeah, it makes you wonder what he was doing with all those supplies.
Exactly. So, of course, they get a search warrant for the Walshe house. And in the basement,
Uh-oh.
they find blood
Oh, no.
and a damaged knife with what looked like blood on it, too.
Wow, so now it's really serious.
Yeah, the whole investigation takes a major turn.
Absolutely. I mean, with that physical evidence in the house and all the holes in Brian's story about Ana being gone and what he was doing,
Yeah, it doesn't look good.
not at all. And that's what leads to his second arrest on January 18th.
Right.
And this time, it's much more serious charges: murder and disinterring a body.
Wow.
The prosecutors basically say that he killed Ana, dismembered her body, and then tried to get rid of the remains.
That's a horrifying thought.
It is, and the evidence they point to is really chilling. They bring up Brian's internet searches, which they found on multiple devices.
Including his son's iPad.
Yeah, even his son's iPad. Some of the searches were things like, how long before a body starts to smell, dismemberment, and the best ways to dispose of a body. And this is the one that really gets you. Can you be charged with murder without a body?
Oh my gosh.
It's just so unsettling. I mean, our digital activity, you think it's private, but it can be really powerful evidence.
Yeah, a window into someone's mind.
Exactly. It can show what someone was thinking, what they were planning.
And it's scary to think about what that could reveal.
It is. Of course, Brian has pleaded not guilty to everything, both the misleading the police charge and the murder charges.
Right.
But that digital footprint, if it's accurate, it's really disturbing. It suggests a possible motive, maybe even premeditation.
Yeah, like he was thinking about these things beforehand.
It's a dark thought, but it's something investigators have to consider.
Absolutely. So the legal process keeps moving forward, and on March 30th, Brian's indicted by a grand jury.
Indicted, so what does that mean exactly?
So that means a grand jury looked at all the evidence the prosecution presented and decided there's enough there to formally accuse him of these crimes and have a trial.
So it's a big step towards a trial.
Yeah, it means the prosecution's case is strong enough to move ahead.
Makes sense.
In this case, it wasn't just a local story. I mean, it got a lot of attention nationally and even internationally, especially in Serbia, where Ana was from.
Yeah, I remember that.
It really shows the human side of this tragedy, you know, all the unanswered questions, the pain that everyone who knew Ana must be feeling.
And it's not just about those directly involved, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it makes you think about how fragile life is, how quickly things can change.
Absolutely. And it crossed borders.
Yeah, it wasn't just a local tragedy.
No, it resonated with people all over the world. It's just a sad reminder of our shared humanity, you know?
Right, how connected we are even when we're from different places.
Yeah. And the Serbian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, they even got involved. They talked to the Norfolk District Attorney's Office through their consulate in New York.
Oh, wow.
They wanted to make sure that Ana's mother was getting all the information about the investigation.
That makes sense. I mean, she deserves to know what's going on.
Absolutely.
It must have been
Yeah.
so hard for her, being so far away and not knowing what happened to her daughter.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
And it's just so sad. But Ana was officially presumed dead on January 18th, 2023.
A devastating outcome.
Yeah, and it's still hard to believe, even though the legal process is still going on.
It's a reminder that even when there's no body, there's still a loss, a void that's left behind.
Yeah, exactly. So just to go back over everything, Ana Walshe disappeared on January 1st, 2023. Brian Walshe, your husband, gave a timeline, but it was full of holes, things that didn't add up.
Yeah, those inconsistencies really tripped him up.
And then they find blood, a bloody knife in their house, and his internet searches.
Chillin'. Just chillin'.
Yeah, suggesting he might have been planning something awful.
Right.
So he's arrested, charged with murder. And while he says he's not guilty, he's been indicted on those charges, including first-degree murder.
So a lot still to unfold in the legal process.
Yeah, and it's a case that makes you think.
It really does. I mean, all those details, the digital evidence, the inconsistencies, the presumed death.
Yeah.
What does it say about how we investigate crimes today, especially when it's something that happened within a family?
Yeah, those can be the hardest cases to solve.
Absolutely. And the role of digital evidence is only going to become more important.
Oh, yeah. I mean, our phones, our computers, they hold so much information about our lives.
It's like a digital fingerprint.
That's a lot to think about.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's a reminder that even in the digital age, the truth matters.
Absolutely.
It has a way of coming out, one way or another.
Yeah, it always does. New episodes are going to be released every Tuesday and Friday.
Simple but essential.
Simple but essential information for staying up to date.
Foundational piece of knowledge.
You got it. And with that knowledge, you can engage with our content on your own terms, on your own schedule.
That's the beauty of it.
That's right. So with that in mind, think about this now that you know exactly when to tune in.
Think about the future.
What burning questions do you have out there?
Yeah, what topics are you hoping we'll explore in future deep dives?
What sources are just sitting in your archives, just waiting to be unpacked?
We're ready.
Waiting to have their secrets revealed.
Send them our way.
Send them our way. We're always ready for our next dive.
Always.
Guided by your curiosity.
Yeah.
So until then, keep diving.
Happy listening.
And we'll see you soon.
See you next time.
Take care.
Bye.